Hi guys, I'm sitting here with Sharon and Trevor Binder, and this is directly after Brad had his first MotoGP win.
Do I need to start over?
Yeah, but it's not that serious because this.
Shaz,
Oscar, what can you do?
You better give him a whole slab of chocolate or something. We've had this shit for 22 years.
I was going to ask you now, how long have you had the?
We bought him 2 days before Darren was born.
Really, so he's been here.
Yes.
But will he not be better if he walks around here?
Yeah, no, then he'll still make a noise.
Totally.
Yeah. When the sun goes down, we call it happy hour. Then they screech the whole day.
Oh, okay. But then when it's
for an hour, yeah, and then they stop. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just start again. Okay, just did that. Hi guys, as promised, I'm sitting here with Sharon and Trevor Binder, and this is directly after Brad had his win on Sunday. So today is Wednesday. Yeah, so it's 12th. Okay, Trev, so I want to just start. Firstly, congratulations. I'm sure it's been a long path for you guys to try and get here. So where were you guys watching it?
We were watching it at home.
Were you at home?
Yeah.
And did you have people with you, or were you on your own?
No, we were on our own. Yeah.
Okay, because I must tell you, when he won, I could almost not watch the last 3 laps. I'm sure it must be worse for you guys, but he was definitely quite on it. And in his post-race interview, when he made a comment that just he wishes his parents were there, I actually got almost emotional. This must have been, I'm sure you must have cried like a baby.
Too, yeah.
Okay. So tell me, did you guys think that he had the ability to win in MotoGP at such an early stage in the MotoGP career? Definitely
not. You know, we really expected things to really take a bit more time to develop. We really didn't realize that they'd made such a big step forward with the bike. And then after testing, Brad said to me, the bike's really good.
Okay, that's before even the first race, eh?
Before the first race, he said the bike is good. He said it's really, from what he rode last year to this year, with all the development Danny Pedrosa had put in, as well as, all the KTM crew and everything, he said the bike that he rode this year, he can't fault it.
Okay. And they're going to the Red Bull Ring, which is like KTM's home ground, but there was something with Brad, so with the COVID thing, he could not go.
Yeah, they had a test there, and Brad unfortunately missed that test because we couldn't get him out the country with the COVID.
Okay. But so they had Danny Pedrosa riding in his place. Okay, yeah. So there would be valuable data.
Yeah, they definitely will have data, but I think Brad says that the MotoGP lines and the Moto2 lines are so different. You know, he's still going to have to go out there on Friday, ride the bike and try and sort all the lines out, braking markers, apexes. He says... another thing he said to me as well, you can't follow the Yamahas. They run completely different lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. It was just quite nice watching, you know, when he, like all of us know, Quartararos can basically walk on water now, or people think he can. And then when Brad caught up to Quartararo, it looked like he was almost relaxed riding behind Quartararo. So I was happy that in his post-race interview, he actually said that he was sitting there quite comfortably holding the pace.
Yeah. I think what he was doing, he was also not sure when the tyres would actually go off, or when they drop, as they call it, you know. So I think he was just biding a bit of time, and then I think he got the hurry up from the pit board when they saw Paul had now passed Zarco.
So, okay.
Yeah, and then Brad...
Okay, so he must have then got a signal.
Okay. I think he decided he better get a move on.
Because I must tell you, so... If we can just go back to Darren a little bit. My youngster, Tristan, is very keen, and I know your boys help Neil Herron with his camp every time at the end of the year. And Tristan and Darren have got a bit of rapport going, but I think that goes back to Xbox playing. But I promise you, watching Tristan watch the race where Darren's riding, he's basically sitting on the bike himself. Like it's quite amazing just to see the influence that your boys have got on the youngsters. So I'm actually hoping that this does for South Africa's motorcycling event what the Rugby World Cup did. Because right now the country's in a bit of a... We need another hero. So let's hope Brad and Darren can be that.
That would be great.
Just quickly, what's the plans with Darren for this year? Like, I know quite unfairly, the one crash that he had, they called him what?
Dive bomb Darren.
Dive bomb Darren.
Yeah.
And, but he's definitely hard on the brakes, but I think that's got to do with his size, eh?
It is, and then also last year his bike was extremely slow. So what he tried to do was make up all the time on the brakes. And then we actually had a chat to KTM, and I said, if you could give him the same bike that the other people have got, he wouldn't have to be so radical on the brakes, and he could be a lot smoother, and it would be a lot safer for everyone else. And they did that this year. And as you could see this year, even the commentators have picked it up how much better he's riding and smoother and not upsetting all the other riders and knocking them off. So things are really going well for him right now. Well, the first three, but this last race, his bike definitely wasn't on pace again for some reason.
Can I ask you, so in my opinion, Darren's too big for a Moto3 bike, or is there no limit to...
There's no limit, but he is the heaviest on the Moto3 at this stage,
And like Jack Miller did the jump straight from Moto3 to MotoGP, what are the chances that would happen with Darren? Or do you need to be a top 3 finisher at the end of the season before...
I don't think that would ever happen for Darren. You never say never, but first of all, we're in a low-budget team there. We're not really one of the chosen riders in the field, so it's really difficult for us. It's still at this stage.
Okay.
So, I mean, a lot of the teams go testing, and that Darren's team doesn't test, they race. That's it.
Okay. And then just the move up to Moto2, do you think there's a chance that he'd get into the Moto2 team for next year?
Well, with this COVID, it's going to make it very difficult, because usually on a Thursday, that's when the team managers arrive and they organise meetings and, to chat to different teams and maybe discuss this rider with different teams. Maybe they'd be interested. But right now, no managers are allowed to come to the track.
Okay.
So now that everything's trying to be done over phone, and it's really difficult.
Yeah, look, I must tell you, I think it was Rossi that said that before a rider changes teams or whatever, they should let it only happen in September and I actually agree with that, because when a new rider gets signed for another team so long in advance, I actually think it takes a bit of the anticipation or stuff out of the... And I agree with Yamaha trying to buy Quartararo, because I think they wanted to take him off the table for Ducati. Because I think Ducati would have most probably have tried to buy Quartararo at that stage. Can we quickly go to you? So can you just quickly give us, I know about the kids starting on go-karts. Can you just give us a rundown, Sharon, of where the boys started? Because it was actually Darren that wanted the go-karts first.
Yeah, Darren wanted the go-karting, and
how
Brad, how old is Darren? 5?
5,
yeah. About 5, so Brad would have been 7. And we went to go off to go-karts, and Brad wanted to do motocross riding. But when we got to the go-karts, for our first race, we bought Darren a new kart and Brad a new off-road bike, but he ended up starting karting with Darren because he just wanted a kart when Darren was karting. So that's where it started, but once they became both South African champions in 2004 and 5, they decided after that they wanted motorbikes. So that's when they were big enough really to start that 50cc class, that high school boys.
Yeah, I actually remember. So Daniel actually raced with them at that stage, and then they moved up to 150s,
150s, and then 125s, and then 600s. Yeah.
As a mom, so I'm involved with my little kids racing as well. As a matter of fact, my little girl, Mia, is going to ride a little PV50 for the first time this weekend, much to Cindy's dismay.
I'd say.
But I said to her, my theory with it should be that when she's 16 and a little boy asks her to ride, she should rather say the little boy can ride with her. So that's my... But as a mom, has it bothered you that the boys are in motorbikes?
No, I think that's the way it's always been. So it doesn't bother me at all, really. That's what they've wanted to do, and it's always kept us all as a family together, always been at the track.
But tell me, when you guys decided that the boys needed to go to overseas, can you just tell me that part? Because at a stage you guys actually had to move to Spain, or was it UK first?
No, Spain. Trevor did the UK races with him, but always came back to South Africa.
So
yeah.
just up and down, eh? For every
Yeah.
okay.
For the rookies, it was mostly up and down, Trevor and Brad. But then once he started in 2012, full season, first GP season, I moved with him to Spain.
And can I ask you why Spain? Like, what was the?
He had a friend, James Flitcroft, in the rookies, and
Yeah.
they lived in this little town in Spain that they said was very English. So at least we knew somebody in the town if we ever needed anybody, and it was a lovely little town. So that's where we've stayed.
But so then you moved alone with Darren
Brad.
as well, just
No,
with Brad.
Darren stayed home with Trevor.
And what age was Brad when you took him over to Moto3?
16.
So he couldn't drive to all the racetracks. I always had to hire the car and fly with him, hire a car, go to the racetracks, and get him back to Spain every time.
Okay. And tell me the path a little bit with him in Moto3. He won the Red Bull Rookies.
No, I didn't.
No,
He
that's
did
He came second, eh?
third.
Third, I think, in 1 year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, it was
He did
only
it
the
3
winner
years.
gets, and then you guys had to buy him a ride in Moto3,
For 2012, yeah.
2012, and then where did he finish in that year? He didn't have success immediately, eh?
No, it was.
Not 12, not 13,
I can't
14.
even remember. 11th or 15th. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, if that, I can't remember. It
No,
was
he didn't
really
have a great
difficult.
first year.
It
No,
was
he
difficult.
was teammates with Salom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, and Salom wouldn't allow him to follow him, and it was such a mission.
Okay. And then where did the relationship with KTM then really start? Because he had Red Bull Rookies. Darren didn't have the best relationship with the Red Bull Rookies, that I know, but we don't have to talk about it now. But
Now, Brad had a 3-year contract with Red Bull, and then when that finished, before his season was even finished in Red Bull Rookies, MotoGP already offered him wildcards. He rode at Japan, America, Malaysia. He did all the ways.
what, MotoGP?
Yeah,
MotoGP,
2011.
yeah, in 2011.
was a
He
wild
did
card.
his. He
Really?
did his.
I can't remember
I
that.
went to
He did
all
his
of them,
first
yeah.
wild card in America the day after he turned 16. Because you had to be 16 in those days to to ride
But in the MotoGP class?
in the MotoGP.
And what
class.
bike did he-
125. He rode Lewis Salom's.
Oh, okay, no, okay, yeah,
Lewis
sorry.
Salom got injured, and then he stepped in for him in America.
Oh, in America one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, I can vaguely, sorry, I thought you were talking about MotoGP, but the 125 class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm lying. It was Japan. It was
Yeah.
Japan first. Sorry.
Japan, America, and then I did the rest.
That's right. Yeah.
And just quickly, just go to how the relationship with KTM then started, because that seems to be a match made in heaven, just from what we see as the outside watching
2015,
TV.
eh?
Yeah. 2014.
14.
Yeah. So what actually happened was they signed him in 2013 already. He came second in Germany behind Jack Miller
Yeah.
on that Mahindra, and they actually rode away from the whole field, and that was before the mid-year break. That's how early things happen. And Aki already signed him before the end of mid-year
For the
break
next-
for the
okay.
next year, yeah. And then he went there, and he was with Oliveira.
Okay.
Miguel was his teammate. He was the number one rider. And then obviously Brad had to learn to ride the bike and all of that. It was quite difficult. And then they started developing the bike so that it suited Brad.
Can I ask you something? And I don't mean to divulge any of the KTM, but it seems like when KTM has a team, like when he went into Moto 2, that Oliveira was the number one rider, or even going back to Moto 3,
Yeah.
there was a number one rider, and then
They put you in steps. Yeah.
they steps.
Yeah.
And I think Brad played the political game right with them every time, because
Yeah, Brad's a really good team player, I must say. You know, he went there, he understood who number one was, you know. And then they obviously told him, don't pass this guy, you know. So that's what happened.
so that does happen, eh?
Yeah, it does happen.
It does
yeah.
happen, eh?
Yeah,
So okay, it's just
It
obviously
happened
they
in
didn't tell
Moto 3
Zarka.
and Moto 2, yeah.
They didn't tell Zarka this last weekend.
Yeah. No, look, that's different teams. Eh?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Look, it also depends where you're lying. I mean, when the racing starts, whoever's got the most points, they obviously want to win a world championship, so they can't keep throwing points away, you know. So that's what it's about.
But when Dovi is that far off the pace, I mean, there's pointers that could...
Even when Brad was number 2 to Oliveira in Moto 3 on occasions, and especially in Moto 2, there were some tracks he just never got.
But that was obvious that he was quicker, he had more pace than Oliveira.
Yeah, and especially like that one year when we went to Aragon. Miguel just couldn't get on pace there, and Brad won that race, and I think Miguel was about 7th or 8th. He just couldn't get there, and then Brad just went out and did
But I suppose also as a team, you lose less points because at least someone's taking the 25 off the
top
table.
Yeah,
so that's...
Yeah.
Just quickly, I want to jump around a little bit because... not just staying with the Binder brothers, but with Dovizioso, I would have thought that this year would have been his best chance at winning the championship. And the first 2 races, the Ducatis actually looked like they'd found something with this new Michelin tyre, but all of a sudden at this last race, the Czech Republic, they just seemed to have lost it. What's your take on, and I know it's only guesstimates, but what is your take on what's happening at Ducati?
I think everything right now had to do with the weather. You know, they shouldn't have been at those tracks right now where they were, because it's summer there now. And I mean, the temperature was 36, 35 degrees, and the track temperature was way over 60 degrees.
Okay.
And I think that is just destroying the tyres and that, and I think that's played against a lot of the teams. That's my opinion.
Okay. Look, and I must tell you, I've spoken to you in the past where Brad, and even, I forget now who I was talking to, but they said that Brad has long runs, you know, like if he goes and tests, he'll stay out for like 8 or 10 laps, where some of the other guys will do like 3 or 4 hot laps and come in through.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that maybe that's giving Brad a good feeling of how the bike is on fairly worn tyres.
That's exactly what Brad likes to do. He likes to work on consistency and, you know, to see how the bike handles. I mean, on Saturday, when he qualified in Q2, his front tyre had 16 laps on it already. And he had a brand new medium in the back because they had no tyres left. He had to use his good tyres to get to Q2 from Q1. So they had no tyres left.
That was not... Okay.
So his front tyre already had 16 laps on it when he went out to do qualifying.
Look, and then I wanted to ask you something about the Yamaha teams. The Yamaha teams seem to have a bit of inconsistent with unreliability with their bikes, their engines. Do you think it's got to do with the heat? Rossi thought that it was to do with the heat in one of the interviews that I read now.
I'm not dead sure what the problem is. I heard a story that they've got pneumatic valves, and that's the rumour I heard, that's where the problem is.
Okay.
But you know, they've nearly used all their motors already. Do you know that?
Yeah, so they're actually in a spot to bother.
Well, it depends. I don't know what they're allowed to repair with and what they can and can't. So when the motor's taken away completely, or if they can repair it. So that part nobody really knows.
Trevin, just tell me, when you guys go to events, like I've now been to Valencia and stuff, and even Daniel went there where Brad was quite nice and he got him into the motorhome and stuff. But when you guys are, as the mom and dad, at these racetracks, do you have free roam in the pits and stuff, or do you also have...
We can go anywhere we want.
Okay.
You know, it depends what pass they give you, you know. But us as parents, I've got access to the access roads any time I want. I can go out there all day, every day. And then usually I can borrow a scooter from Brad or Darren, or take a bicycle or whatever, you know.
Okay, and then another question. Brad mentioned on how many people are working at KTM, and I think I saw you last year at some stage, and I said I was a bit nervous that he was going to sign for KTM. I actually thought at that stage that it would be better if he went with a Yamaha or a Ducati or something. I always thought that the KTM was a second and a half off.
Yeah.
But you actually said something to the line that the guys there are so committed to this MotoGP program that they are chucking everything at it, and that the guys know what it takes to win the World Championship. So just quickly tell me, how big is the KTM contingent that's working on the MotoGP?
The MotoGP, the amount of people working in that pit is ridiculous. There are so many people, and as Brad said in his interview on Sunday, that they're all grinding away, and everybody's perfecting every little part, and that's why that bike's so good. You can't believe it when you walk into that pit, how many people are in there, and they're all busy doing data and this and that and analysing every single item on the bike.
Yeah, Brad even said that they leave like nothing.
Nothing. And that's one thing with KTM, you know, that I've realised over the years. They committed, and when they say they're going to do something, they do it. And I mean, I think Brad just arrived at exactly the right time. I mean, look at the bike. It's take it. Look a bit at the project's only in its 4th year now. You know.
Yeah, it's actually scary the amount of progress that they make.
And Brad said from last year when he tested their old bike to this year, the progress they've made with Danny Pedrosa and all of the new modifications it's like day and night.
Yeah. Can I ask you, just going on Danny Pedrosa, do you think Danny Pedrosa had a very big influence with getting the bike more rideable? Because last year the bike had the power, but it didn't seem like they could put it onto the track, getting out of corners. It looked like it was a bit of a beast to ride, where this bike actually seemed... Watching Brad ride the bike, I actually thought it looked a lot like he was riding his Moto2 bike, the way he was just going into corners and stuff, with the bike moving and stuff. So
no, look, Danny Pedrosa, Brad said, has definitely taken them to another level. And as I said to you this morning, I read on Google, one of the Italian journalists had written a short piece on it, and he said that one of the biggest mistakes Honda ever made was letting Pedrosa go.
Look, I must tell you, so I actually made a note of it in my editor's note, that I found it quite odd that Repsol Honda would put everything on Marc Marquez. And the way Marc Marquez has always like thrown caution to the wind, and I don't want to say naysay afterwards, but you can only get away with that kind of absolute, I don't know what the word, but like at some stage, if you walk in the rain enough, you're going to get wet. And I feel that sometimes Marc Marquez has pushed himself just too hard. Yeah. And I mean, it was shocking that they showed the camera where the 2 Repsol Hondas, and I know it was a spare rider, but it was right at the back of the grid. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of Repsol Honda.
In that write-up that I read this morning, that journalist actually quoted there that Pedrosa had actually done a lot of development on those Hondas, and now when you think how long Pedrosa's left there and what's happening to that bike, remember in the beginning of this year at the test in Qatar, that Honda wasn't shaping at all. I don't know if you can remember that. And then the COVID came, and then the headlines were that they found the problem, it wasn't a big problem,
but it's almost like the Ducati of a few years back. Only Stoner could ride it.
Yeah.
So.
But then the rumour was as well, Stoner arrived there and switched all the electronics off. How true that is, who knows. But I mean, he absolutely thrashed the guys with that bike.
So a bit of inside information. Where does Brad ride the electronics? Where does he like?
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Okay. And would him and Paul and all of the different guys have different levels of electronic interference? Or would they
I think it's pretty much, for what I can understand, I think it's rider preference.
Okay.
You know, I mean, every rider's got a different style and different needs. And I think they just try and adapt that to suit the rider. That's what I can sort of understand. They don't speak openly about that.
Sharon, and there will definitely be some moms or women listening to this radio station as well. So Brad has been dating Courtney for a long time?
Almost 4 years.
Okay, so are there any wedding bells in the future? Just putting you on the spot totally, I know. But
I'm sure there will be, but I don't know how soon.
Okay, yeah. And how old is Brad now?
25 yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Okay, guys, so thank you very much for allowing us to come into your house and sharing a bit of the Binder workings.
Pleasure.
Okay. So let me just switch over.